Good evening and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining William Osler Health System's telephone town hall this evening. My name is Gurjeet Corbance, and I am a member of Osler's Patient and Family Advisory Council. I joined the hospital's Patient and Family Advisory Council earlier this year because I wanted to give back and help create a stronger healthcare system for our community. I live in Peel Region, and my family has used Osler services over the years. I'm grateful for the care my family has received and wanted to share my voice on the Patient and Family Advisory Council to bring the community perspective to hospital experiences. Since the COVID-19 pandemic began over 20 months ago, our hospitals have played a vital role, maybe more important than ever, in our communities. Tonight, Osler's senior leaders will share the latest updates on the hospital's response to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, as well as on its recovery efforts. Hospital leaders will also provide updates on some exciting construction projects that are planned and underway, and will share healthcare tips that will be useful to everyone heading into the holiday season. What we are looking forward to the most, however, is hearing from you. From my experience as a volunteer patient and family advisor with Osler, I know our hospital leaders are committed to listening to and learning from us all. I will be asking you a few polling questions, which you can easily respond to using your phone. I will provide more details on how to do this once the polls get underway. It's now my pleasure to introduce the Osler senior leaders with us this evening. Susan Britton-Kane, member of Osler's Board of Directors, Dr. Naveed Mohammed, President and CEO, Kiki Ferrari, Chief Operating Officer, Francesca Fiumara, Director of Emergency Critical Care Respiratory Therapy, Ann Ford, Executive Vice President, Strategy and Corporate Services, Mary Jane McNally, Chief Patient Experience Officer, and Ken Mayhew, President and CEO of Osler's Foundation. As I mentioned before, over the next hour, you will have several chances to ask questions. To be placed in queue to ask a question, please press *3 on your phone at any time. We will get to as many questions as we can. For those callers that we cannot respond to within the hour, I will provide instructions at the end of the call on how to leave your question with us so Osler can get back to you. For those of you who are just joining us, welcome to William Osler Health System's telephone town hall. I would now like to invite Susan Britton-Kane, member of Osler's Board of Directors, to say a few words.
Thank you, Gurjeet, and good evening, everyone. I'm honored to be part of tonight's event and to be able to speak to you all. Thank you to Osler's leadership for creating the opportunity to connect with our community. These are tremendously important discussions. I've been with Osler's Board of Directors since 2017. During my time on the board, I've been an active member of the Resources and Audit Committee and Governance and Human Resources Committee. I am currently serving as chair of the board's Health Services and Quality Committee, where I, along with committee members, try to enhance hospital programs and services through learning and discussion, which is what we are doing here tonight, through discussions with you, our community. I want to take a moment first to reflect on the past 20 months and express the immense pride I have in Osler and our community. Since I joined Osler's board, I have witnessed firsthand the outstanding dedication that our healthcare teams have shown each day. On behalf of the entire Osler board, I would like to offer my sincere gratitude to the staff, physicians, and volunteers for their commitment to continually going beyond for our community, especially throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. This has definitely been a very challenging time for everyone, but I am incredibly proud of the way we have come together as a community to tackle COVID-19, and I'm excited for the developments we have to look forward to in the coming months and years. I know that if we continue to work together, we can keep each other safe and continue to advance the future of healthcare in our community. I will now pass it back to Gurjeet.
Thank you for your leadership, Susan, and for your kind words. For those of you who have just joined us, if you would like to ask a question or make a comment, press *3 on your phone. This will bring you up into the question queue to speak with one of Osler's leaders. We kindly ask that you keep your questions brief so that we can get to as many as possible. I would now like to ask Dr. Naveed Mohammed, President and CEO, to say a few words.
Thank you, Gurjeet. We're so pleased you've joined us tonight to moderate this conversation with our community. And good evening, everyone. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy. I understand we have residents listening from across our community in Brampton, Bramalea, North Etobicoke, Malton, Caledon, and beyond. Thank you for sharing a part of your evening with us. We'd like to take some time this evening to update you on our COVID-19 response and recovery work and to share some exciting hospital development news for Brampton. We're still seeing a lower number of COVID-19 patients than in previous wave, but we need to continue to do everything we can to keep ourselves and each other safe. We know that when the community works together, we save lives, and we thank you for doing your part, for following safety protocols and rolling up your sleeves to get the vaccine. So as COVID-19 numbers and hospitalizations remain steady, Osler continues its careful and gradual return to normal operations. My colleague, Kiki Ferrari, will speak more about this shortly. Since our last town hall, we successfully introduced both a staff and a visitor mandatory vaccine policy to continue our efforts to fight COVID-19 and to be a place that is safe to receive care and to work in. As we begin December, I'm pleased to share that we are reopening the Urgent Care Center at Peel Memorial. My colleague, Francesca Fimera, will provide more details shortly and will share a few tips to help us stay healthy over the holidays. I'm very happy to report we're also making progress on our hospital construction projects. On November 3rd, I was joined by other Osler leaders to lead a delegation to City Council to request municipal funding to support 50% of the local share required to begin the next phase of Peel Memorial and the proposed Cancer Center in Brampton. This evening, we're pleased to update you on this exciting journey as we look towards the future. This includes the transformation of Peel Memorial and our efforts to improve access to cancer services in our community. My colleague, Anne Ford, will provide more details. So before I turn it back over to Gurjeet, I want to assure you that as Osler continues to navigate the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, we are here to take care of you and your family. We are thankful to our staff, physicians, volunteers, and our partners who have worked tirelessly to care for our patients. The support from everyone in the community has lifted the spirit of our teams, and we are truly grateful. I'm so very proud of our organization and what we have accomplished over the past 20 months. Thank you again for taking the time to join us tonight, and I'll now hand it back to Gurjeet.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. For those of you who have just joined, if you would like to ask a question or make a comment, press *3 on your phone. This will bring you into the question queue to speak with one of Osler's leaders. We kindly ask that you keep your question brief so that we can get to as many as possible. I would now like to ask Kiki Ferrari, Osler's Chief Operating Officer, to share some additional Osler updates.
Thank you, Gurjeet. Good evening, everyone. I'm so glad that you have joined us for another telephone town hall, and I look forward to answering some of your questions along with my team. As Dr. Mohammed mentioned, with COVID-19 hospitalization and ICU admissions holding steady at Osler and across the province, we have gradually and safely resumed most of our regular operations and are now reopening the Urgent Care Center at Peel Memorial on December 6th. With our emergency department volumes increasing, the Urgent Care Center is an important service helping to provide timely access to care for the community. We also have some great news about services at Osler's Etobicoke General Hospital. This fall, we launched a pediatric diabetes education clinic that supports our young patients. Through this clinic, pediatric patients and their parents connect with specialized physicians and nurses, either in person or virtually, to help them manage their diabetes. We know it's important that our community has these services close to home, and we are working hard to ensure the support will be further expanded to young adults in 2022. Before I turn it back to Gurjeet, I want to say thank you to our Osler team for getting the COVID-19 vaccine and continuing to adhere to safety protocols to keep patients, our healthcare teams, and the community safe. As of November 7th, it became mandatory for everyone working at an Osler facility to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19. And you heard Dr. Mohammed mention that this also includes visitors and essential care partners. At this time, we're pleased to say that close to 99% of our staff and physicians are fully vaccinated against COVID-19. We thank all our staff, physicians, and volunteers for taking care of each other and our community. We know that vaccinations and following all safety measures are the way out of this pandemic. I will now pass it to Gurjeet to welcome our next speaker.
Thank you for that update, Kiki. Before we move on to our first polling question of the evening, I would like to introduce Francesca Fiumara, Osler's Director of Emergency, Critical Care, and Respiratory Therapy, to provide brief remarks. Francesca?
Thank you, Gurjeet. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. As Kiki mentioned earlier, the Urgent Care Center at Peel Memorial is scheduled to reopen in a few days on Monday, December 6th. I have heard from members of our community that this is welcome news, and we are happy to offer this important health service once again. The Urgent Care Center will be staffed with emergency-trained physicians and staff ready to provide care to patients with non-life-threatening injuries or illnesses that cannot wait for a family doctor. This includes things like broken bones, allergic reactions, cuts that might need stitches, and fevers, coughs, or colds. Please check Osler's website for more information on the Urgent Care Center and what we treat there. Osler's virtual urgent care service also continues to be available to provide a convenient alternative to visiting our emergency departments or the Urgent Care Center. Virtual urgent care is suitable for any condition where a patient aged 3 months or older can safely wait for a few hours for an appointment. As we approach the holiday season, it's important that you take care of your health needs and plan ahead. This evening, I'm pleased to share a holiday season health checklist. First on the list, make sure you know your doctor's holiday hours. If you can, schedule any needed medical appointments before the holidays. Discuss your care plan with your healthcare team. Knowing who can provide support and how to reach them over the holidays is essential. And last but not least, remember to refill your medications and medical supplies such as blood test strips, hearing aid batteries, especially those used daily, to last you through the holidays. It's more important than ever to work together to keep each other safe. Please remember to follow public health guidelines, know the allowed gathering limits, wear a mask, wash your hands regularly, and keep a safe physical distance from others to stop the spread of COVID-19. And if you have not already, we encourage you to get your COVID-19 and flu vaccines that are available in the community. Thank you again for having me. I'll now like to hand it back to Gurjeet.
Thank you, Francesca. As I mentioned earlier, I will be asking you a few polling questions this evening to invite your input on some topics of interest. First, we'd like to know that the Urgent Care Center at Peel Memorial is reopening December 6th. Will you visit Osler's Urgent Care Center for non-life-threatening injuries or illnesses? To answer the question, please press the number on your phone that corresponds with your answer. Press 1 if your answer is yes, I will use the urgent care service at Peel Memorial if needed. Press 2 if your answer is no, I prefer to visit the emergency department. Press 3 if your answer is I don't know what the Urgent Care Center at Peel Memorial is. Let me repeat the question and your response choices. The Urgent Care Center at Peel Memorial is reopening December 6th. Will you visit Osler's Urgent Care Center for non-life-threatening injuries or illnesses? To answer the question, please press the number on your phone that corresponds with your answer. Press 1 If your answer is yes, I will use the urgent care service at Peel Memorial if needed. Press 2 if your answer is no, I prefer to visit the emergency department. Press 3 if your answer is I don't know what the urgent care center at Peel Memorial is. Please enter your response on your phone now. I will share the results shortly. Before we share the results of the first polling question, we will now begin to take your questions. For those of you who have just joined the telephone town hall, if you would like to ask a question or make a comment, press *3 on your phone. This will bring you into the question queue to speak with one of Osler's leaders. We kindly ask that you keep your question brief so that we can get to as many as possible. We will now begin taking your questions. Our first question is from Maggie, and this question is for Dr. Mohammed or for Anne. Maggie is asking, how many beds will be available at the new Peel Memorial, and who will those beds be for? Dr. Mohammed?
Thank you, Gurjeet. So we continue to transform healthcare here in Brampton, and as the population of the city grows and our region grows, we need to continue to build more healthcare infrastructure. The new Peel Memorial will be a 6 to 7-story patient tower with 250 inpatient beds when it opens, and there will be space to build more beds in the future. So when it's combined with outpatient clinics, diagnostic imaging, surgery, and other health services already operating at Peel, this will be a boost in services for patients in Brampton. Plans also include short-stay beds necessary to support a 24/7 emergency department, which will also be at this site.
Anne? Our next question is from Linda. What new services will impact seniors with the PMH addition? This question is for Anne.
Thanks, Gurjeet, and thank you for the question, Linda. There are a number of new programs for seniors coming into the new Peel Memorial. Dr. Mohammed just mentioned some beds, and we do have some specialized beds for seniors with issues such as dementia, and also seniors who have a comorbidity issue between their medical and mental health. So those are some new beds. We are also going to relocate our seniors clinics from our existing building over and expand some of the outpatient services for seniors that include both medical care and rehabilitation care. So there will be some new and existing services within the new building.
Thank you, Anne. Our next question is from Todd, and this question is for Dr. Mohammed. Todd is asking, why are Peel Memorial expansion and comprehensive care center higher priorities for investment, fundraising, municipal hospital levy than a third hospital? Why is a third hospital 15 to 17 years away? What are the fundamental barriers that contribute to that?
So thank you for your question, Todd. What I want to clarify is that we have made a very strategic effort to try to assess and to try to really meet the immediate needs of our community and what is the fastest way of getting there. So building the cancer center to ensure that all of our patients who have to travel so far to get radiation therapy and other cancer services can get it closer to home. And secondly, to expand the existing Peel Memorial and convert it into a full-service hospital with a 24/7 ER. In terms of a third hospital, we continue to advocate and work with the ministry for a third hospital with even more beds and another ER. The problem is that a project that size takes many years to plan, to approve, and then to raise funds for, build, and then staff and operationalize. So the 10 to 15-year number or the 15 to 17-year number is not something that Osler has dictated. I just want to correct that because there have been some media reports that we are saying we won't be ready for 15 years. It's not that. It's just that a project that size just takes that long. That's how long Brampton Civic took, and that's how long many other projects across the province take when they get to close to $1 billion mark.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. Our next question is from Robert, and Robert is asking, do COVID-19 vaccines work against the Omicron variant, or do we need the booster? Is Omicron more deadly than the other variants?
Yes, so thank you for your question, Robert. The first thing I want to tell you is that we encourage everyone to get fully vaccinated at this point, and that means that you should have 2 doses of an approved vaccine in Canada. There is a 3rd dose, which is a booster, and right now, everyone over the age of 50 as of today is eligible to take the 3rd dose, and there are some other specialized populations with certain illnesses who can take the 3rd dose. Now, the 3rd dose does not define that you're fully vaccinated. You can still be qualified as fully vaccinated after 2 doses. As far as the new variant is concerned, it's still very early to tell if the vaccine is effective against it. The new variant does have many mutations on its surface protein, so there is some concern that the vaccine may not be as effective, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. And also, with such small number of cases and only a few days since the discovery of this variant, it hasn't been confirmed how severe the disease will be. What I can tell you is that early findings suggest that it may not be as severe as what was feared in the first couple of days, but we still need a lot more information and some more time before we can determine that.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. Our next question comes from Sharon, and Sharon is on the line. Sharon, go ahead. Please ask your question.
Good evening, panel. Good evening, Dr. Mohammed. Thank you for the invitation. My question, I'm not sure if this is for Dr. Mohammed or is it for the team. I am a new resident in Peel, moving from the 416, and is also a frontline worker at a reputable hospital in downtown Toronto. I want to give back to my community, and I was wondering if there's any conflict of interest if I would want to volunteer at the William Osler, given that I pretty much live steps away from your Boisvert Drive Hospital.
Sharon, I'm going to answer that question for you. It's Kiki Ferrari. First of all, thank you for your question and welcome to our community. We would love to have you work as a volunteer here at Osler, and there's no conflict of interest. There is a process to go through. You have to make sure you're vaccinated and have some other vaccinations, as you know, to work in a hospital. And I would say that it's an extreme honor that you're considering volunteering here while working at somewhere else. It really shows the compassion of healthcare workers across this province and what they will do for patient care. So thank you for bringing that question forward, Sharon.
Thank you, Kiki. Our next question comes from Diana, and we have Diana on the line. Diana, go ahead.
Hello, good evening, and thank you for taking my question. My question is regarding transmission amongst the vaccinated compared to the unvaccinated. And to bring to everyone's attention as well, I believe there's a lot of divide in families and community members regarding this issue, because people, I guess, maybe they're getting mixed information or don't know what the truth really is about that. So should vaccinated people be afraid to be with their family members that are unvaccinated? Because I'm seeing a lot of divide in families and communities. So what is the truth, and should we be afraid? And that's basically pretty much the question.
So thank you for your question. I think the first thing I want to really emphasize is that you should not be afraid of unvaccinated loved ones or unvaccinated friends and colleagues. If you are vaccinated, the vaccine protects you. A person that is vaccinated is less likely to spread the virus, less likely to get the virus, and less likely to get severe illness from the virus. And severe illness means being hospitalized in a regular hospital bed or in the ICU. So if you are fully vaccinated, you are protected. If you are not fully vaccinated, yes, you're more likely to carry the virus and spread it, but you're also more likely to get sick yourself or sicker yourself. So my advice would be that protect yourself and get vaccinated and let each person worry about their own safety. It's okay to talk to people about encouraging them to get vaccinated, but I would strongly advise that we should not risk our friendships and family relationships based on that.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. We would now like to announce the results of our first polling question. Our question was, the Urgent Care Center at Peel Memorial is reopening December 6th. Will you visit Osler's Urgent Care Center for non-life-threatening injuries or illnesses? 65% said yes, I will use the urgent care service at Peel Memorial if needed. 15% said no, I prefer to visit the emergency department. And 20% said, I don't know what the Urgent Care Center at Peel Memorial is. Thank you for this helpful input. I would now like to ask two Osler leaders to share further updates. First, we'll have Ann Ford, Executive Vice President of Strategy and Corporate Services, who will share the latest on Osler's hospital construction projects. Then, Mary Jane McNally, Osler's Chief Patient Experience Officer, will speak to Osler's visitor policies. Ann?
Thank you, Gurjeet, and good evening, everyone. I'm Ann Ford, Osler's Executive Vice President for Strategy and Corporate Services, and I'm pleased to be back again this evening and having this opportunity to provide you with an update on the transformation of Peel Memorial. As Dr. Mohammed mentioned just recently to a caller, the new Peel Memorial will include the construction of a new building, 6 to 7 stories with 250 inpatient beds, and more space to build additional beds in the future. The building will also offer space for new and enhanced outpatient services and day programs to the citizens of Brampton and our surrounding regions. Both the buildings, the new building and our existing building at Peel Memorial, will be connected to ensure safe and convenient access to services and programs and movement across those sites. Combined with the outpatient clinics, the diagnostic imaging services, the day surgery, and other health services that are already operating on the Peel Memorial site, the new building will bring a boost in services for our community, including the provision of specialized care for those patients who need greater rehabilitation and supports to be prepared to return home or to their community settings. This project will also enable greater acute care capacity and help alleviate pressures at Brampton Civic Hospital. For those who may not know, and we throw the figure around quite a bit, but acute care means that we care for patients with a disease or a severe illness, usually for a short period of time, and then we get them back home as soon as they are stable. The beds at Peel Memorial are for those who need a little bit of a longer stay after their acute stay and for either rehabilitation or other supports before they can go home. The transformation at Peel Memorial will also create more services that the community needs and supporting a robust and accessible local healthcare system. And the more services also include some work with our community partners and space within the building for them. Osler has received input from patients, caregivers, and the community that has informed all of the developments to date. for our new building, and we look forward to continuing to hear from you about what matters most for you and your families. For more information on the transformation of the Peel Memorial, please visit our website where we are updating information as it comes available. As you've also heard through this call and Francesca mentioned, we are reopening our urgent care center in a few days on Monday, December 6th, and the plan is to expand operations to 24/7 later in 2022. This will set the stage for our second full emergency department in Brampton. When the new Peel Memorial Tower opens, we will have the resources and short stay beds that are needed to open the second emergency department. As the population of Brampton and our surrounding region continues to grow, we know that these projects are crucial to help ensure that Osler is continuing to provide the health services that this community needs the most. Also, as Dr. Mohammed mentioned, we are in discussions with the Ontario government on a proposed plan for a new comprehensive cancer care center in Brampton at our Brampton Civic Hospital. This proposal of building a new center at Brampton Civic will place cancer services closer to home to better serve the growing needs for our cancer patients in the community. The new center will house radiation therapy along with other cancer services and outpatient clinics. Over the longer term, we also know that a third hospital site is needed in Brampton, and we will continue to engage with the City of Brampton and the Ontario government to make this a reality. So thank you, everyone. I look forward to answering any further questions that you have, and I'll now hand it over to my colleague, Mary Jane McNally.
Thank you, Anne, and good evening, everyone. I'm Mary Jane McNally, and I'm Osler's Chief Patient Experience Officer. I'd like to take a moment to recognize tonight's moderator, Gurjit Kaur-Bain, and the other valued members of our Patient and Family Advisory Council. The role of Osler's Patient and Family Advisors is a voluntary one, and we are so grateful for their wisdom, valued expertise, and insight. They ensure that voices of patients and families are part of Osler's decision-making. And I noticed a comment earlier around interest in volunteer roles. So if anyone is interested in being a member of our Patient Family Advisory Council, please apply through our Osler's website. As patients, family members, and the community, your experience is at the heart of everything we do. Our Patient Experience Office works with patients and families to lead change towards improving experiences, and we are here to support patients and families. Our phone and email information is on Osler's website. Keeping our patients and staff safe is our priority, and we continually assess our visitation policy. We know the positive impacts that visitors and family presence has for our patients, and we're happy to now allow some visitors into our hospital with restrictions still in place. All visitors and essential care partners approved under Osler's visitor policy are required to provide proof of full vaccination against COVID-19 or proof of an approved medical exemption along with photo identification. We have made some recent changes to the number of visitors who can visit, particularly during end-of-life situations, and we are now allowing rotation of visitors. If you need more information, I encourage you to check Osler's website. Safety of our patients, staff, and the greater community has been at the heart of every decision we've made, and we appreciate your support. Please also remember that patients do not need to be vaccinated to seek medical care. We continue to offer high-quality care to every patient who comes through our doors. Thank you, everyone. I will now turn it back to our moderator, Gurjit, and look forward to answering any questions you may have. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Mary Jane. We would now like to ask our second polling question. To answer the question, please press the number on your phone that corresponds with your answer. Our second question is, how would you like to receive information about hospital updates, including the new Peel Memorial? Press 1 if your answer is through more telephone town hall virtual events like this one. Press 2 if your answer is through information on Osler's website or social media accounts. Press 3 if your answer is through information available at the hospital when I'm there. Press 4 if your answer is through mail-out to my home. Let me repeat the question and your response choices. Our second question is, how would you like to receive information about hospital updates, including the new Peel Memorial? Press 1 if your answer is through more telephone town hall virtual events like this one. Press 2 if your answer is through information on Osler's website or social media accounts. Press 3 if your answer is through information available at the hospital when I'm there. Press 4 if your answer is through mail-out to my home. We would like to open the line to answer more of your questions. Please press star 3 on your phone to bring you into the question queue and speak with Osler's leaders. Again, we kindly ask that you keep your question brief so that we can get to as many questions as possible. Our next question is from Anudori, who is on the line with us today. Anudori? Anudori? Maybe we can move on to the next question, which is from Mrs. Hussein. Mrs. Hussein, are you there?
I'm here.
Excellent. Go ahead with your question.
Oh, I was asking that I have the 2 vaccine, Pfizer, and I have the booster. Plus, I had my flu shot, okay? I need to go. I'm going for a vacation in Queens, New York. I want to know what kind of test I have to get.
Thank you for your question, Mrs. Hussain. First of all, I want to congratulate you because you're very well protected. You've got all 3 COVID shots and you've got your flu shot, and you're traveling to another place in North America, which is, I think you said Queens, New York. So I don't think you need to get any other vaccines. Sometimes when you travel outside of Canada to Asia or Africa, then you have to look at what other shots you need, like malaria, hepatitis, etc. But I think you're very well protected with what you have, and I just wish you a safe trip.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. Our next question is from Sarah. Sarah is on the line. Sarah, go ahead.
Yes, hi. First, I'd like to say I'm so grateful for the Urgent Center. I've been there, and it's very efficient. It's very caring, and I find that the doctors there are the same as the emergency doctors at the main hospital. My question is, when can we expect that the old hospital, which you call urgent care now, will be turned into a full hospital the way that we originally as taxpayers thought it might be?
Sarah, first of all, thank you very much for acknowledging and recognizing our staff and physicians at the Urgent Care Center. We love it when we hear that kind of feedback from our community. In terms of the Urgent Care Center, as of Monday, it will be the same, and it will operate from 1 to 7:30. Sometime in 2022, we will go back to our original hours of 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. And later in the year, we will go to a 24/7 facility. The care that you receive at the Urgent Care Center is exceptional because there are emergency room physicians. You get the same kind of care that you would get in the emergency department. No ambulances currently go to the urgent care center. That is the only difference. And it's preferable if people are experiencing acute symptoms like a heart attack, symptoms of a heart attack or a stroke, that they go to an emergency department. But the urgent care center is prepared to take any patient that walks through the door. We also have full diagnostic imaging services and a laboratory on site, along with an interdisciplinary health team in order to receive your care. And what your thought is about the urgent care center is something we hear over and over again, and it has one of the best wait times in the province.
Thank you, Kiki. Next, our question comes from Enza Severino on the line. Enza?
Yes.
Go ahead, please, with your question.
Yes. Thank you for having me on the call. So my first question is, I'm just wondering if there will be a cancer care clinic in the Etobicoke Hospital. I know they have made the hospital, half of the hospital new again, which was great. I'm just wondering if they're going to make that an addition. And the other is just a comment more than anything else. Is I when I come to take my parents, I have two elderly parents, 89 and 92. They have my father has a heart issue, and my mother has cancer. And each time I had to bring them there for any emergency issues, I just have been having to wait 8 or 9 hours. And this makes them very ill, even worse than before they come in. So I just don't know really how to handle that at that point, because I know they need the care, but then I end up sitting there and having to, ask the nurses, how long will it be and how long will it be? And I don't want to be a nuisance either. So I'm not sure exactly, how I can handle that situation.
Thank you, Enza, for your question. I'm very sorry to hear that your parents are ill at this moment. I want to address your first question with respect to cancer care at Etobicoke. We do have a clinic at Etobicoke, and both of our sites see cancer patients throughout the building. So there are inpatients with cancer at both of our sites. Exciting news is that we're looking to build a comprehensive cancer care center, so patients at Etobicoke do not have to travel far to other hospitals to get things like radiation treatment. In terms of your wait time, it's always disheartening to hear that people have to wait, and we don't want anybody to wait. Sometimes it might take 8 or 9 hours to deliver care in an emergency department because we're waiting on tests, etc. I want to really encourage you to make sure you are asking your care provider how long this is going to take, and make sure you're getting the information you need. The staff never mind to be asked these kinds of questions. That's what they're there for. And I want to turn it to Francesca and Mary Jane in case they have anything else to add.
Enza, it's Mary Jane from Patient Experience. And first of all, I just really want to recognize your support to your parents as a family member. It's so important. We very much value what we call family presence, because we know the presence of family, whether it's in the emergency department or inpatient units, actually contribute to the well-being and the healing of the patient, your loved ones. And we know that it's really important for families to be there, to be supportive of the care experience, to help with complex decision-making, and to support some of the treatment decisions. So very much value your presence. And what we know from visitors in the emergency department is even if they're waiting for long periods of time with their loved ones, if the time is well spent, if they get their answers and they know exactly what they need to do after they leave the emergency department, even if it is 8 hours, it's time well spent. So again, I really want to acknowledge the value of your commitment to your parents in terms of their well-being? Thank you for the question.
And just one more comment. This is Francesca. As I mentioned earlier, I support the emergency department, and I'd like to echo Mary Jane and Kiki's sentiments with respect to the difficult time you may be facing and many of us can relate to. As Kiki mentioned, some of your wait or some of the wait for your loved one is related to perhaps we're waiting for tests to come back or we need to reassess the patient. But also, we're also working very hard to improve the efficiency with which we provide care. And so we're also very mindful of that, looking for opportunities to reduce unnecessary wait. One such example, although there are several, but one such example is around the registration process. And specifically, patients and their loved ones are able to register using a QR code, which reduces the registration time significantly from about 10 minutes to about 2 to 3 minutes. Now, while that represents one part of a lengthy process in the emergency department, that's how we tackle very complex problems, one step at a time. And so we are looking for opportunities along the way to reduce unnecessary wait. And we thank you very much for your feedback. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you. We would now like to announce the results from our second polling question. Our second question was, how would you like to receive information about hospital updates, including our redevelopment projects? 52% of you said through more telephone town hall virtual events like this one. 9% said through information on Osler's website or social media accounts. 1% said through information available at the hospital when I'm there. And 38% said through mail out to my home. Thank you for this helpful input. We would like to continue to answer more of your questions. Please press *3 on your phone to bring you into the question queue and speak with Osler's leaders. Again, we kindly ask that you keep your question brief so that we can get to as many as possible. Our next question is from Susan Hall, who's on the line. Susan?
Hello. My question is, and I've asked this type of question before, but is the complete renovation of the original Etobicoke General Hospital still a reality? And if so, when do you perceive it will occur? And I was just wondering whether part of the old hospital is where the Comprehensive Cancer Care Center is going to be, although you did say build. So is that a new build on the Etobicoke site, or is it part of the renovation of the original building?
I will ask Anne to answer this question.
Hi, Suzanne. Good to hear your voice. Thanks for your question. We are working with the government on the next stage of renovations at Etobicoke. We have submitted the initial documents around what's called a master plan, and we need to go back to that and look at how things have changed over the last few years to get on with that. So a timeline around when the complete renovation will be completed, I can't answer, but we are working with the government on their different stages of projects to try to get an approval to do more renovations at the Etobicoke site. The question around the cancer clinics, we have clinics within the existing facility right now. We also have some IV work happening in our new building down in our procedures area. The new comprehensive cancer center actually will be built at the Brampton Civic site, where we will be providing radiation services. That will be the new services coming in. We are looking at a new building on the southeast corner in Brampton Civic to build this comprehensive cancer center. So patients from the Etobicoke area won't have to travel as far for radiation as they currently do today, but that a new building will be at Brampton rather than Etobicoke.
Thank you, Anne. Our next question comes from Mrs. Smith. Mrs. Smith?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you for accepting my question. My question is, I would like to know where and in what location would this third hospital will be built. And also, I've been living in Brampton for over 40 years, 41 years. And from I've been living here, I was always informed that we would have 2 hospitals. But up to the present time, we still don't have 2 hospitals. Why it took taking so long for us to have 2 hospitals after so many years?
Thank you, Mrs. Smith.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. I'll pass it on to Anne to answer your question.
Good evening, Mrs. Smith, and thank you for your question. And the third hospital, Osler is currently working with the City of Brampton and on the Heritage Heights development, which is on Mississauga Road and Beauvais. This is an area where there's a number of large hectares where there's a potential space for a third hospital. So we've been working with the City of Brampton as they've gone through a lot of their stakeholder engagement to determine if this is the right place to put the third hospital. And at this point, all conversations seem to be focused in that area. So as we proceed with additional planning, I would think it's going to be in the northwest corner of the city. In relation to your question around hospitals, we are in the process of building and planning to build the Peel Memorial site, which will provide more inpatient beds for the residents of Brampton. As we've mentioned previously, 250 beds initially, with growth for more. And that will help us also provide some additional acute care capacity at our Brampton Civic Hospital site. In addition, on the Peel site, we will be building a new emergency room located where our urgent care center is right now. It will be renovated into a new emergency room. So that will also provide a second emergency department in the city, the first being Brampton Civic.
Thank you, Anne. Next, we have an online question from Pat, which I'll pass on to Dr. Mohammed. The question is, the Pointer recently reported that Peel Memorial is only getting 250 day beds for minor day surgery and will only be an urgent care center with no emergency department. Is this not correct? If it is, why did you not say so? Dr. Mohammed?
Pat, thank you for your question. And it's really unfortunate when media reports completely inaccurate information. But I want to assure you that, as I said earlier, the Peel Phase 2 will have 250 beds with space for up to 100 more beds. And this will be beds for inpatients. A number of these beds will be for acute patients that will come from our 24/7 emergency department that will be housed right here at Peel Memorial. So that report was not accurate, and you have it right from the horse's mouth right now.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. Thank you, everyone, for your insightful questions tonight. Just a reminder that if we weren't able to get to your question tonight, we are gathering your information so we can get back to you. Before we move on to our final polling question, I would like to introduce Ken Mayhew, Osler Foundation's President and CEO, to say a few words. Welcome, Ken.
Thank you, Gurjeet, and good evening, everyone. My name is Ken Mayhew. I'm the President and CEO of the William Osler Health System Foundation. I'm really happy to be able to connect with you this evening, and I guess to convey that each and every one of you plays a very critical role in healthcare in our community. I want to take this opportunity, as a number of my colleagues have done earlier this evening, just to extend gratitude on behalf of our patients, our physicians, our staff, and volunteers for the ongoing support you've shown through a very difficult year. Many people don't realize that 100% of community hospital equipment must be funded by the community itself. And that is why your support is essential. so that we're able to provide quality health care close to home. We're currently in a season of giving for all faiths, and as you consider the many ways to share joy and have an impact, I encourage you to consider supporting our hospitals, a gift that will truly touch the entire community. We recently launched the Buildback Together campaign with a goal of raising $10 million to support our hospital's pandemic recovery. And thanks to a generous donation from the Bramalea Lions Club, the donations you make now will be doubled, up to $1.5 million. I encourage you to visit oslerfoundation.org to learn more. We're incredibly grateful for the growing number of groups and families supporting us, including Punjab TV, who recently hosted a telethon to support Osler's pandemic recovery. You can also support Osler by placing a bid or making a donation at Osler Foundation's Awesome Auction. Bid on unique items and VIP experiences in our online auction while supporting your hospital. But do so soon. Bidding closes tomorrow. And head to oslerauction.ca. That's oslerauction.ca today to browse, to bid, and to donate. Thank you again for your generosity. Quite simply, we cannot do what we do without you. It is with you and through you that Osler has been able to be there and continues to be there for our community. Stay safe, stay well, and thank you for your kindness.
Thank you, Ken. We very much appreciate everything the Foundation does for our hospitals also, and in turn for our community. And thank you to all of our speakers for your insightful updates tonight. We have one final polling question to ask you tonight, and we would appreciate your feedback as it will help us plan future Osler events. To answer the question, please press the number on your phone that corresponds with your answer. Our third and final polling question is, did you find tonight's town hall informative? Press 1 if your answer is yes, this has been informative and I plan to participate again. Press 2 if your answer is somewhat. I found tonight's event fairly helpful. Press 3 if your answer is no, I didn't feel it was informative. Press 4 if your answer is I'm not really sure. I'll repeat the question and your choices. To answer the question, please press the number on your phone that corresponds with your answer. Our third and final polling question is, did you find tonight's town hall informative? Press 1 if your answer is yes, this has been informative and I plan to participate again. Press 2 if your answer is somewhat. I found tonight's event fairly helpful. Press 3 if your answer is no, I didn't feel it was informative. Press 4 if your answer is I'm not really sure. I will now turn it over to Dr. Mohammed for some final thoughts.
Thank you, Gurjeet, for moderating tonight's telephone town hall. You have done a wonderful job, and we appreciate the tremendous contribution you continue to make as a member of Osler's Patient and Family Advisory Council. Thank you to Susan Britton-Payne from Osler's Board of Directors, and our Osler Foundation President and CEO, Ken Mayhew, for being here. And thank you, of course, to my colleagues, Kiki Ferrari, Ann Ford, Mary Jane McNally, and Francesca Pomera. Tonight, we have reached almost 7,000 households throughout the hour. Thank you so much for your participation, and thank you to everyone who called in with their questions and comments. We will be hosting another telephone town hall in the coming months, and we hope you can join us again. More details will be shared as soon as they're available. On behalf of our staff, physicians, and volunteers, our deepest thanks for your ongoing support of Osler and our healthcare teams. And please have a safe and happy holiday season.
This wraps up Osler's telephone town hall. Thank you everyone for your great questions and active participation. If you have any questions we did not get to, please email them to publicrelations@williamoslerhs.ca, and we will respond to them in the coming days. Once again, that's publicrelations, one word, @williamoslerhs.ca. Thank you again for joining Osler's telephone town hall tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening.